Strange happenings on stage at the European Darts Match Play. Plenty of seed scouts here in Hamburg. Simon Whitlock, former European champion, Austrian Darts Open champion this year. Johnny Clayton, another title winner. Mervyn King, James Wilson, Steve Beaton, and now the world champion Rob Cross, all knocked out on the second day of action, their first day of action on the European Tour stage. But that's not the most sensational thing that's happened here today, because yes, we have had a 9-dart finish after 5 long years of waiting. Put out the bunting, and that's what Darius Labanauskas will be hoping to do. Paul Nicholson joins me, Chris Murphy in commentary.
Yeah, I like the look of this game. Stephen has been playing pretty well the last few weeks. I was pretty close up with him during the week in Barnsley. He got the better of me. And Stephen, I know he really craves to get back amongst the higher seedings. He wants to get his Friday nights back. He doesn't want to go to qualifiers. He wants to be playing on Saturdays and Sundays only. And in order for that to happen, to get ranking points towards that goal, he needs to win this match against Darius, which is not an easy prospect.
Rob Cross was the 6th seed to depart the scene. So if the final 2 matches were to go the way of the unseeded player, which is not beyond the realms of possibility, and we could have half the seeds wiped out.
I think this is a tricky one to call. I think it really does depend on the start of the match. If Stephen gets a lead, I feel he will keep it. But if Labanauskas takes chances and Stephen misses a few, then maybe Darius could get over the line. But Darius seems to be gaining experience on this Euro Tour stage and gaining confidence with it as well.
Yeah, well, he beat Richard North and Johnny Clayton in Denmark. A couple of very good wins, both of them 6-5, and he was only beaten 6-5 in the end by Steve West, denying him a place in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, no shame in that whatsoever.
They also picked up a win in Gibraltar against Geoffrey de Graaf, but was beaten by a very impressive Joe Cullen, who usually does turn up on Saturdays on the European Tour.
I can't remember the last time he lost on a Saturday. Definitely wasn't today. He was too good for Martin Schindler.
Stephen Bunting is aware of the task. He said before this match that there are a few players who are playing opponents he'd never faced before and kind of unknown quantities, but he said out of all the unknown quantities that he's probably got the hardest.
I'd be adverse to say that Lucky D is not exactly an unknown quantity.
Well, he is to Stephen Bunting because they've never met before. I think that was where he was coming from, the fact that it's someone he's never faced. He doesn't know his game in terms of
see what you mean.
Being at the hockey behind him, or being behind him when he's at the hockey. Not allowed to get too close these days.
It is very tricky indeed. You know, playing someone for the first time, you're not sure about their intricacies, their little ways on the hockey, but double 16 for Stephen will give him an ideal start. Oh, he's going to have to rely on misses from Darius. If Stephen leaves double 9, well, he's been picking these off with alarming regularity recently. Confidence. That's exactly why he hit that shot. He's been winning a lot of matches lately, Darius Labanauskas, and that's why he took that shot. Pure confidence.
Perhaps Bunting has reason to be alarmed already. He's been playing decent stuff this year too. Reached a semi-final early this month on the Pro Tour. That followed a quarter-final at the Dutch Darts Masters. One of the players that has been kind of knocking on the door has won PDC title. Stephen Bunting won almost everything in the BDO, didn't he, including the World Championship at Lakeside.
59.
Straight away got in the winner's circle on the PDC circuit. Won himself a UK Open qualifier. I think it was the second tournament he entered in 2014.
Yeah.
Has added to that in 2016, a Players' Championship event, and he had all the rewards that went with his immediate success, Premier League, World Series, and that's where he wants to get back to.
I remember how he beat in the final of his first Pro Tour as well. Andrew Gilding.
And the other one, having seen off Andrew Van Gilding, he beat Michael Van Gerwen.
100.
And Andrew Gilding, of course, struggling to keep his tour card at the moment, may have to find some form in the final 6 months of the year.
Yeah, plenty of players in that predicament, and in fact, it becomes a final 4 months now, doesn't it, for those players, because it's the summer holidays for the Pro Tour players that aren't involved in the World Series or World Match Play.
Qualifiers for European Tour events in September are so important for people looking to keep their cards, and next Pro Tour events will be at the start of September, and again it'll be midweek just like this week, and then the next ones after that will be in Dublin. Next thing you know, it'll be October.
Qualifying already done for Hildesheim, the next Pro Tour event. Now the Bullet looking for the bull. Now the Bullet looking for the bull. They had to go a long way to try and find it.
Now look what Labanauskas has got. After a miss at double from Stephen, Darius has got 100 again. Where's he going to go? He went for the conventional 60 for double 10. He misses this time, and Stephen gets a shot to break back straight away. This will help if he hits this. Double 8 now. And misses. Could be very costly for Stephen Bunting's chance of making Sunday.
Oh, scratching his head, Stephen. Labanauskas looking to land tops.
We have to go left now and decrease the power. It's good enough. A little sigh of relief. As a professional dart player, you expect to go up there and hit it first dart. It's so inviting double top. But when you've got 2 darts above it like that for Darius, you've got to find a way, and he did find a way. He's 2 to the good.
Stephen Bunting has waved off his practice partner, Dawson Michelle, who now resides in St Helens, but is leaving for Las Vegas.
There's a few of the guys in the field who are leaving for Vegas too.
Yeah, well, James Wade, who's opted out of this to prepare for the US Darts Masters, he was beaten by Michelle last year.
It's fair to say that we have a slightly different James Wade in the Vegas tournament this year. He's in a lot better form. He's in a Pro Tour final during the week. Speaking of good form, just looking to glide it over the top there, Darius, and just a little bit too much power on that one. He's in a good spot here after Stephen in the last visit had another bounce out. Just a bit of misfortune. He's had 2 of them now. See that thing draped on the right thigh of Darius, a towel. Very handy thing to have on that stage this week.
Well, that was 57. John Part was a pioneer of the towel on the body.
It's a big thing in the Far East and States, and people playing soft tip and steel tip. They're always carrying a towel.
140.
Bunting is in danger of getting a bit of a toweling here. 2-0 down, and Labanauskas might get 6 darts from here, but he might do it in 3.
Ooh, that kissed off the flight, you know, and deflected right.
Put it in 3 instead.
120.
So it's getting to the point already where something like this is going to have to go.
It's not going to go this time for Stephen, and this opponent in Darius Labanauskas is proving to be very, very tricky for Stephen. He's not making many mistakes. Double 16, he'll be halfway to the next round.
28.
Well, a reprieve this time around for Stephen, and he's got to take this.
Yeah, Bunting needs to wake up. Good morning, Stephen.
Stephen Bunting. Forward Darius for the red flash.
He does work with a sports psychologist, Stephen. We had a brief chat, and we had a practice on the dart show. I wonder if they talk about being in these sort of positions, how to rebound from early adversity in matches. You've got to keep the confidence, keep the belief, even when you're up against it. Whatever he's talking about, it works!
Well, the psychology of having struggled early on in the match, but then hitting the double to win the leg, and all of a sudden, Bunting starts to hit full flow.
58.
I've been wondering for the last couple of days, aside from the guys who we know are going to Vegas and Shanghai,
96.
what are some of these dart players going to do over the summer if they're not in the World Matchplay? Are they going to be looking around for tournaments? They're going to be taking a break, doing some practice at home. Everybody's different, but really intrigued by that to see how people are going to prepare for the second phase of 2018.
Well, if only I had a professional darts player next to me to ask what he'll be doing this summer.
I'll tell you one thing I won't be doing, that's DIY. I've done enough of that the last 18 months. I'll be enjoying the fact that my home is very livable for the first time in 18 months. But from a darting perspective, refresh the mind, tick over practice-wise, and get myself ready for September.
Treble 20. Not happening.
95.
Good setup all the same, and Labanauskas now in the position of him having to hit. It's
Slightly
only one
higher.
dart.
Yeah. Here he goes, tops for 3-1.
Oh,
a little puff of the cheeks and a nod of approval from Lucky D. Or as I like to call him now, serious Labanauskas, because when you type in Darius into your favourite search engine, you get serious Labanauskas.
Well, Lucky D, I'm not sure if that's a very apt nickname for Labanauskas, because Luck isn't really coming into it, is he? I'd say Twicky D was more of an apt one, because he's proving to be a very testing opponent.
It's got a nice ring to it, I like that. And maybe he's adopted European Tour nickname.
134.
This is heating up, this battle. Labanauskas has a lead right now, but Stephen Bunting is holding onto his coattails ever so slightly. You can let him have it all his own way. Looking at Stephen's scoring, he's just peppering around that 60. His grouping has been very good indeed. This leg particularly, leaving 130 after 9 darts. Labanauskas has played 4 matches to get to this stage. This is Stephen's first in this tournament. Cut his score in half, so Labanauskas maybe needs a maximum to pressurise the 65 of Bunting.
Well, 140 would leave him handily placed. 182. So Bunting wants to avoid the ball this time, but he hasn't.
57.
Labanauskas would love to hit it.
82.
Well, this will be another pickpocket job. From 222, can he get rid of it in 6 darts? 17 for tops, and he will.
62.
Shy, that was a great chance to go 4-1 in front. And Bunting has 3 clean darts at double 4. Needs to have a go at it, and it's not there. Maybe it's not Stephen's day. And Lucky D, lucky for him, has got another 3 darts at double.
I hope that he's got 3, unless he can land double 5 with a second. Does get his full quarter.
10 score. Stephen,
The final one was further away than the second.
Stephen's had plenty of time to sight up double 4. Can he get it this time? That's closer. Uh-oh, new target. Double 2, and maybe that's what he needed, a new target. He found that one, and he's got within 1 by hook or by crook.
He's hanging on in there, Stephen Bunting, in this match. But sometimes that is all you need to do until the surge sparks or your opponent goes off the boil for a leg or 2.
I was actually confused earlier in the week about a couple of things about the draw. It's a bit of a lucky dot to be in the 20 there for Stephen. I got my facts wrong and wondered how Boris Koltsov and Darius Labanauskas were both in the draw. Then I totally forgot that being Lithuanian, he's in the Nordic Baltic, and then Boris Koltsov, being Russian, is in the Eastern European section of qualifying.
Yeah, proud Lithuanian, as you can see by his attire and his equipment.
I'm a fan of the shirt. I like it.
Stems
Uncomplicated.
Stems on the darts as well make up the flag. But I'm not sure if he throws them in a particular order.
Oh, that would really mess you up if you did it wrong. If you had some proper OCD and you threw the red one first instead of the yellow one.
132.
That'd be an interesting question, actually. I might save that one and have a word with Darius at a later point. It's the red one first, followed by the green one, and it is the order of what's on the shirt. The yellow one last.
Well, it was that time. We'll have to watch out for the rest of the match. But that was a great setup shot from Stephen Bunting to leave 170. But he's not going to take it out.
58. Darius requires 70.
Well, he'll be hoping to use only 2 colours here.
Yellow one first. Double 8. Is that awkward? By the look of Darius on the stage, it may be.
54.
And it was.
Stephen, you require 112.
It's an outside chance, but it's very, very doable. 1 treble needed. Might have 2 pokes at the 60. Gets it first time. Where's he going to go? 12 and tops for a tie game. And he's done it. 3-3. And Labanauskas will be ruining those shots at double 8. He's missed them, and Stephen did not.
A well-timed break of throw for Bunting, who turns the match in his favour. Labanauskas has had plenty of chances to get away from him in this match. Bunting's just clung on to his coattails, and now he might be ready to put his mark on this.
Stephen will be frustrated with a 54 start.
It was a different order that time for Labanauskas, for those who were watching with bated breath to see which combination he throws the colour. I'm sure there's a colourblind pun in there, because there's an old pop idol singer named Darius who had a song of that title.
I'm sure Dawson would have thought of that. I'm sure he's a fan of those kinds of shows. 3rd bounce out in the game for Stephen.
We had the X Factor, didn't we, at the start of the night? Andy Bolton beating Steve Beaton.
Stephen has only scored 60 in 6 darts.
Quite incredible, isn't it? Not often you see that.
Well, sometimes you just got to sweep it under the rug, forget about it.
After 6 darts earlier on, Michael van Gerwen was waiting to take out 144. If you're just joining us, he did.
That's all over social media already. They're already calling it the curse of Michael van Gerwen, because it hasn't been hit again. Stephen's found his range now, and that one hasn't bounced out. And wisely he went to the 18s there, because if he'd have hit that second dart, I feel it would have bounced out.
what says a lot about Michael Van Goen's mentality is his answer to the question on the stage about the 5-year wait for a 9-dart leg on the European Tour. He didn't care about the other players. He said 5 years is too long for me to go without a 9-darter on the Euro Tour.
100. Darius require 103.
Where's Darius going to go for this one then? 60? He will go treble 17 now. He will go double 16 to get the lead back. Only just outside. When he misses, it's not by much. But will Stephen hit another ton plus? This time to lead. It'll be double 16 for him. And he's on the inside of it. Oh, pivotal stuff happening in leg 7.
Just looking to find a way. Still plenty of room. And he was edging ever closer, but not close enough.
And Stephen is getting a little bit of fortune here because of those misses. Will he cash in? And that is awkward.
Well, darts are double 16 and double 8 for Stephen Bunting. Have to travel quite a distance, bearing in mind where he stands on the hockey.
And how his darts kink to the right, so he's covering the bed. Can Darius get closer? Yes, he can. He finds the mark. He had lots of practice at it, but that is a massive, massive break of throw. Darius holds here, and he's wrestled that advantage back that he had earlier in the match. And Stephen worked so hard to get back on level terms. He could have had the lead there.
We are approaching our scheduled finish time for the evening session here on day 2 of the European Darts match play. But if you're thinking of turning in and calling it a night, don't, because the last match won't last very long. We can assure you of that.
Even if it's 6-5, it'll probably only take about 11 minutes.
It's Michael Smith against Jelle Klaasen to finish proceedings on a historic day in Hamburg.
34.
Only 180 in the match so far, and that came from Stephen.
It's been a rather pedestrian pace as well, this one, and I don't think that suits Stephen Bunting.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Interesting to hear from Stephen. Who would be his ideal opponent pace-wise? Probably Alan Norris,
55.
who he beat in the final of the Lakeside a few years ago.
Well, I think that Michael Smith and Jelle Klaasen next up are perfect opponents in terms of speed. And that was a perfect visit from Stephen Bunting, something that has been sparse in this tie.
Yeah, only the second, and both of them came from Stephen. That puts him on a finish. In order
85.
for Darius to get to a finish, he needed to go 25 or bull there. He's gifted Stephen 6 from 164. He'd love a treble. Gets 92. One. That's a very, very intelligent switch. Blocked the 60, utilised the next big segment over to the right.
Well, of course, he'll hit a couple of trebles here, Darius. In the end, the second dart was underneath, but his sums could have cost him. Simple sums here, 72 across the board. And he made it look simple.
Well, if he's going to take out checkouts, then maybe Stephen just needs to have something with 12 and tops at the end. Because the last couple of really good ones he's had, a 112 and a 72, and that was vital, because Darius was sitting on that exact same shot. Stephen misses and Darius checks. Could be game over.
Well, watching Stephen Bunting over the years, and we've seen evidence of it in this match, he can struggle on that double 16, double 8 segment, and I'm sure it's in part down to the fact that he stands such a long way to the right, the darts have further to travel.
4 fallouts out of the board. What a recovery from Stephen. Brushed it off really well.
No, it was 120, mate. That one fell out.
The only two numbers I've seen in the crowd were 180, and somebody had a sign that said 26.
We're obviously hoping that you'd qualified for the tournament, Paul.
Cheers, Murph.
100.
Just going to annoy you for the next 24 hours. Good leg from Stephen. Even though he had that one fall out, he's still on 181 after 9, and Lucky D's looking to put a hole in this.
121.
6 darts from 181. We'll see him one leg away. That is a punishing 140. There was some real pain behind that one.
And it's been a real battle for Stephen Bunting to get himself in this position, and this is in its own way impressive from Stephen Bunting, because it has been about grit, determination, tenacity.
Well, tenacity, they got Darius to 52. He can't miss this, Stephen. Again, it's awkward.
9 scored.
Again, he misses.
Darius require 52.
That corner of the board has cost him a lot in this match.
Or was it the wrong choice? Darius is down there.
20.
He's missed this time. Can Stephen convert? Massive exchanges. Just wants to find it once. He gets it now. Had plenty of practice at it. And a scrappy affair. He's working so hard for this, Stephen. And he's found himself within one leg of victory. Darius will rue chances that he's missed.
Well, the winner of this will take on Daryl Gurney, who had to survive match darts against Robert Marjanovic and was there for the taking in that tie. And it's in the same section as of the draw as Joe Cullen and Justin Pipe. There's a real opportunity for a player who's not been in many European Tour semi-finals lately to book themselves in one.
Could this be the week where Joe Cullen makes the final?
95.
Mid semi-finals.
Yeah, well, the slight problem with that is that it's still the top half of the draw where Michael van Gerwen is the top seed, and we've seen what kind of mood he's in this weekend.
Joe Cullen has the game. If he turns up, he has that 110 plus capability. But more often than not, he brings that kind of talent to a Saturday. It's such a great chance in Austria.
We've seen him do it against the top players in the world on stage, Joe Cullen. One of my favourite matches from the World Championship a couple of years ago is his first round clash with Corey Cadby when he got his first win. We've seen him produce a sensational match with Raymond van Barneveld on the Euro Tour.
Yeah, one of the best ever.
However, let's not write off Justin Pipe, who always pops up from time to time and has a good run and sometimes picks up a title. Gurney, of course, in the hunt for his first title of 2018. In fact, he's the highest ranked player not to have one.
Are we going all the way in this one? Stephen will be furious that from 235 he didn't at least leave 170.
Well, the answer to your question is we should be.
He's got to go under that, but he's got to find a path. So now, he's sitting on 87.
42.
Now Stephen has a chance to pressurise. 2 trebles here will pressurise this 70 for Darius. He's missed shots of doubles already in this match. That 70 is no guarantee.
Great dart. Fabulous way to find 2 trebles, especially after the first dart, blocking the bed beneath. Pressure is on.
Treble 18 will be the shot. Is he going to go for 20 and double 16? Again, he is. This section of the board has not been good to him, but it's very good to him now. It's 5-5. Stephen has the darts. This has been attritional, to say the least. Wonderful start from the bullet.
He's asked the question.
140.
Labanauskas has got a similar answer.
As each tournament goes by, we're learning more about Labanauskas. Guy's got guts.
61.
That treble seven's made things slightly awkward for Stephen, because if he wants to leave a finish from there, he's going to have to use his mathematical skills as well.
58.
He might not have to now. Maybe he'll just go to the 60 instead of using the 19s. He's taking his time. He is using the 19s. Another one of those will leave a finish. Brilliant.
139.
Again from the bullet. Great bounce back ability.
But Labanauskas has found himself in this position very often in the past 7 days. 3 times in Denmark. He went down to last leg deciders.
95. Stephen, you require 100.
By virtue of not hitting that last treble 19, Stephen Bunting is in the box seat. Doesn't have to go for the treble 19 here. He might go for another treble 20.
He's gone for it.
He's not going to go for the bullseye.
Well, he's tempted, you know.
He's thinking which double to leave.
130.
And he's left double 16. Intelligent, good board management, good match management. Gives himself a chance for a deep breath, and he'll come back to double 16 to take a very, very good win. But 2 trebles have left. Labanauskas on 74.
Bunting's made his choice. Is it the right one? There is the answer. Stephen Bunting has ground out that win against Darius Labanauskas, who for 4 consecutive matches on the European Tour has played his full quota of 11 legs. But it's Bunting that moves through to the 3rd round of the final day of action, where he will take on the World Grand Prix champion and number 4 seed here, Daryl Gurney. Stay tuned, because we've got one more match to come, and it's going to be a quick one. Michael Smith, the number 2 seed, against Jelle Klaassen. But first,